Now. Alright, four boys back here. Got a stuck rear window wiper. Not moving, thought the fuse was blown. Had to dig in a little deeper. Got it completely off now. If you have a rear wiper that's through the glass that can open, especially like this, in this case it's a 2012 Ford Expedition where it's got the motor obviously built into the door, and then of course when the glass comes down it engages with the motor. We turned it on, checked the fuse first, fuse is fine, turned it on, no noise. This must have some type of an override kill switch if it's requiring a little too much amperage to turn, but the relay sounded fine up front, no noise back here. Actually was able to open the glass and trick this little safety switch, which is also the catch, but we've got it unbolted right now. But the catch for the glass, this is also the release. So when we push the button, that's where it releases. But there's a switch in there when it knows the glass is closed, and then it will allow this motor to turn. So we just pushed a screwdriver in there, tricked it, closed, and our motor was turning. The minute we closed the glass, we had to re-engage it with the hole. But once we got it closed, it tried to like move for a half second and quit. So there's definitely an override. So what we have going on is this is actually a shaft that goes through this bracket. Here's the catch for the glass, and it's just bone dry and a little rusty. This bracket is aluminum, so it wasn't rusting. It's just the shaft on this thing corroded a little bit. So this is what we discovered is actually the problem. We couldn't move physically with our hands either this bracket or the wiper blade, so of course that little motor wasn't going to be able to do it. And we tracked it down to this, took everything apart, and found this this shaft. We're just going to clean it up, put some little grease on it, put it back together. All right, we're just going to take a wire brush and work on this, clean it off. We don't want to get too deep into the metal. Also, a like green Scotch-Brite on this would work really well too, and we may actually go grab ours and hit it once we're done with the brush here. We're going to get this cleaned up. All right, hit this with the wire brush. It got into these splines and these threads really good, but it's still just not really cutting it, getting as clean as I really want on the rest of this thing. So it's kind of like a spring washer that's captured on here. Actually, I might just go ahead and slide this off, get it out of the way. So I usually just take the Scotch-Brite and put it on here. And it actually has like some grit in it, so it really helps clean and polish up this metal really good and smooth out some of the corrosion. This thing might be available to purchase, but I'm not interested in that. I want to get this thing back on and working because I got a giant hole in the glass right now. Not waiting on a part, and certainly not going to take this thing back together again. I think this will do just fine. It was mostly this outer portion, so the sort of the inner portion, or it didn't seem like maybe the water or whatever was getting in and causing a problem any deeper to the inside, which is obviously a good thing. It's a pretty tight fit in here, so that's why this clearance must have changed and tightened it up beyond movement. So this all cleaned up. All right, we're just going to put a real thin coat. In this case, we've got for the boat some of this waterproof bearing grease from Bel-Ray, but you could probably put about anything on here. I mean, you could use Vaseline if that's what you got. Dielectric grease would probably work. Normal bearing grease would probably work. I mean, there's a whole host of things that would probably work just fine. But we're just going to go ahead and put a real thin coat on this whole thing. And then we're going to clean out the inner portion of that bracket, and which is already pretty clean. It really, this guy seemed to be the problem. And there's kind of a recess spot here, so I'm going to put a little bit extra right there. It might help for the long term, but at any rate, even the splines I'm going to go ahead and grease to just keep them from corroding, and should kind of help everything not rust again. So, alright, turns out this is kind of like an aluminum piece, but there's like a steel sleeve. I don't know if it'll focus good enough, but there's like a steel sleeve, probably to help with wear, to just be a more durable material. That's actually looks like it's pushed in or pressed in here. So we're just going to take, in this case, a paint gun, paint sprayer cleaner, You could probably also use a cleaner for your pew-pew. And we're just going to put this guy in a few times. This really wasn't that bad, but I just want to get any dirt and debris out of here, and then I'm just going to rinse it with some WD-40 to get it cleaned up. It's already knocked some of the crud out, but yeah, otherwise it's in pretty good shape inside. So we'll do this a couple more times and probably rinse it with some WD. I got it all cleaned out with that brush. There's actually, it looks like 2 raised areas, one at each end, and the middle section of that inner sleeve is larger slightly to probably minimize how much actual friction or contact there is with that little spindle or whatever. But at any rate, there's sort of that recessed area in there. I'm going to try to get a little bit of extra grease probably packed into each end here. Actually, you know what, I'm sorry, I'll just do the end where I'm going to feed this thing in from to push in that extra grease and maybe kind of take up some space in there. So we'll get this thing reassembled. Alright, got the little spring washer and flat washer, little separator, and slid this thing back in. It wanted to kind of hang up on those raised areas, but geez, we couldn't even move this with channel locks before. So we're definitely on the right track here, back in action. We'll just get this thing finished up. Alright, this probably can apply to a lot of vehicles with this type of a setup, but in this case, on this Expedition, these inside bolts that actually hold this to the glass are 7/16, and there's a lot of wiggle in the bracket to allow for adjustment. So we just kind of snugged them up to where we could still move them, and got this thing aligned with the catch and made sure that it was, you know, shutting nice and easily and felt like it was lining up good. Might not be perfect, but it feels pretty good. And now we're going to snug them down. Alright, tightened up with a 7/8. This large outer nut here holds kind of the assembly, sandwiches it to the glass and to this outer handle, which is held on very lightly with like a sticky gasket. I couldn't overcome the bad habit of grabbing it and popped it free, so it wants to move a little bit, but hopefully it'll settle back in. I mean, it's good, it's tight, but 7/8 here, couldn't tell you on the torque. I'm guessing we've got every bit of 16, 18 foot-pounds on it. Yeah. And it's good and snug. We did notice that the spindle's now tightened up a little bit with the C-clip back in, and we had to put pressure on that spring washer to get the C-clip back in its groove. So it's not as, you know, easy and free moving as it was. But anyway, on this Expedition, anyhow, there's this bushing to cover this outer nut, and we'll get the wiper arm pop back on here. And then this 13 mil holds the wiper back on, and you should be good to go. Alright, all back, assembled, working good. This one is having a little bit, I think this wiper arm needs replaced because there's just a lot of play in this thing, and I could see maybe being designed to give a little bit, but that's a lot, and it doesn't seem to want to pull down as far. So anyway, hindsight, it's not as easy to move as I thought. I'm kind of wishing I would have used an abrasive pad with a little bit more bite, maybe on the die grinder, to have stripped that shaft a little bit. There still might be just a hair of clearance. I mean, those clearances in there are tight. I wish I would have kind of made a little bit more room and cleared some of that pitting off, maybe in a little time. This thing will polish itself some and loosen up. It's working fine. It certainly works better with the engine running. But bottom line, if it doesn't smooth out, I might take it apart again when we go to do this wiper arm and replace that. So we'll see.